Good evening, everyone, to another session of International Education Week UNE 2024. Welcome to this exciting panel discussion titled Social Entrepreneurship Shaping the Future of Education. We're thrilled to have you with us today as we explore how social entrepreneurship is driving positive change in communities around the world. We're live on StreamYard, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. So let us know in the comments where you're joining us from. Don't forget to use the hashtags IEW UNE 2024 and hashtag UNE to share your thoughts and connect with others. We are honored to have three extraordinary panelists with us, each bringing unique perspectives and expertise to this important conversation. Let me introduce them to you. Saida Aldape Castillo is a multifaceted professional with a background in mechatronics engineering and administrative management, a proud graduate of YEST and NAWAC, with extensive experience in strategic planning and process management. She has excelled in fields such as logistics, entrepreneurship consulting, and quality management in the maritime sector. Currently, she leads operations at Emprende et TMX and has contributed to regional expansion projects with Anasars, Bosch, InBev. Beyond her professional career, Saida is deeply committed to community service, collaborating with organizations like Asilo Nuestra Señora de Lourdes and Ponte las Alas AC. Her passion lies in empowering entrepreneurs in southern Tamaulipas to optimize their projects and broaden their horizons. Grecia Herrera Huerta is a 20-year-old law student and social activist from Puebla, Mexico, known for her dynamic leadership and unwavering dedication to social justice and human rights. She has coordinated impactful national projects with UNICEF, improving conditions for vulnerable groups. Her work in parliamentary initiatives, public speaking, and project coordination highlights her vision of integrating ethical values and social responsibility into contemporary leadership. Grecia passionately advocates for using entrepreneurship as a tool not just for economic growth, but as a driver and meaningful social change. Fatima Gaitan is an entrepreneur and social activist passionate about educational innovation. As the CEO and founder of Concora, she has created a youth network that empowers and educates to drive reciprocal social change. A scholarship recipient at Tecnológico de Monterrey, she is pursuing a dual degree in law and international relations. Fatima's activism spans areas like comprehensive sexual education, women's rights, and climate action. She's a climate reality leader, a young ambassador for the European Union in Mexico, and a member of the National Leadership Network Kybernos by Fundación Salinas. Her inspiring motto is Everyone has a story to tell, people to inspire, and changes to aspire. Here's how today's session will unfold. Each panelist will have 15 minutes to present their insights and social entrepreneurship. We'll begin with Saida, followed by Gracia and Fatima. After the presentation, I will ask a few prepared questions, and each panelist will have time to share their responses. Finally, we'll open the floor to questions from our audience. If you have a question, please type it in the comments on StreamYard, YouTube, Facebook, or LinkedIn, and we'll do our best to address as many as possible. Let's get started. Saida, you have the floor.
Thank you, Fernanda. Hello, guys, and thank you everyone for inviting me for being part of this amazing event. When I received the call of Carla and Maru some months ago, I was thrilled to share with you a little bit of what I'm doing right now. But I think that a crucial part to start about talking social entrepreneurship, we need to talk a little bit about social responsibility. So if you let me, I'll show you a little bit of it. Okay. So let's start with a few questions like, what if social responsibility wasn't just an obligation? I think, what if this wasn't just a corporate word or a buzzword, but a way of life? One that touches every decision we make, for how we educate to how we give back our communities. Have you thought about it? What if all of those projects and ideas that you're already doing in school or you're trying to improve in real life, wasn't just a concept or a stating paper. Well, when we talk about social entrepreneurship, it's not a business opportunity as we may think. Social entrepreneurship is so much more. When someone decides to start a lifestyle as an entrepreneur, most of the time you create an affordable way or idea to bridge a gap that you found in social opportunities. But when you see this not as a business opportunity, but as a mission to transform lives, it's a way so much more impact in the power that you have for the social entrepreneurship in, especially in education, because when you start studying and you start to creating these ideas into actions, it defines how this movement explain beyond what a corporate life or checkbox that you may think about. It's not longer just about sustainability or a report or a philanthropy part, but it's about ethical practices in every facet that you care in your life. There's a phrase that I would like to start with. One of my favorite movies, that is, courage is not the absence of fear, but rather the judgment that something is more important than fear. The brave may not live forever, but the courageous do not live at all. So, when we talk about social responsibility and social entrepreneurship, especially in my field, um, as you may heard at the beginning, I'm in Emprendete. Emprendete is so much more than just a podcast. We give this power and faces to those voices that are making some actions out there in Tampico, Madero, Altamira, and so many other parts of the country. And when we faced a social entrepreneur, I'm really, really amazed because they're not thinking about them. They're thinking about um, the social responsibility that they have in their communities, in their cities. There's another part of my career where I'm a teacher, so I'm trying to improve this in my students to create those ideas and turn them into actions. Um, Before I was a teacher, I always remember how thrilled I was when one of my in those times my teachers were sharing their thoughts and were hearing me. Especially Nelson Romero, who I give them a shout out here. Well, uh, he was really amazed of how we turn these papers or napkins in some cases into a project, and that project were beginning to take and transforming life, but not only as an entrepreneur, but also in some ACs in the zone. um, when we're thinking about the community impact in education that you're doing, it's empathizing on the storytelling that you're going through and inspiring stories for those who listens and aligns with the virtues of social change. Um, when I started to give classes a few years ago, a couple of years ago, I was amazed because before I had a formal class for myself, some of the students of or the engineer students asked me how was my student life and how you go through doing something that is sustainable, especially in the sustainable goals that we may heard about. Well, when you have these concepts in a real world, you faced a big challenge because it's the part of empathizing but trying to make it real. And when you see your objectives turning in some promises that you have to keep word apart, Well, it's amazing. I think it's one of the most inspiring things that you may be doing when you're trying to share a little bit of what are you doing right now and how you can improve in a social part of your daily life. Oh, also, I had the podcast. I have the role as a teacher, but we like, or especially I like, to improve what I'm learning in my daily life in some ACs, as the Asilo Nuestra Señora de Lourdes and Ponte las Alas, because mobilizing these communities and help those that are in indeed a collective action or a vulnerable population in our city, it's something that thrilled your heart really, really hard. Um, I think social responsibility, part of the social entrepreneurship, is not just a duty. It's an opportunity to shape the future, to redefine success and transform lives. How you do this? Well, in Emprendete, sometimes we call to the action with some of methodologies as empathizing with the others and detecting with a diagnosis what is happening in your circle, and how you improve this to recognize as a powerful tool to the social entrepreneurships, how you can do what you trying to improve in a view of daily practice, but not just for an organization or for the individuals that are already improving something. um, if you recognize the phrase that I was talking about at the beginning, uh, some of you may recognize the movie, uh, The Princess Diaries. And I was really little when I first watched that movie. But there's something the main character says that keeps me for life of what I'm doing right now. And she says something like, how many times I at the day I use the word I. And I think everyone in here have thought about many problems that we have faced in our daily life. But how many times we think about, well, if I do something or some other thing, it's you may think, well, maybe I'm being selfish or maybe I'm not. But there are 7 billion people out there. So what if we care about of the other 7 billion people out there instead of just us? Well, that's a much better use of our time. So when you have this power in a podcast, as a teacher, as a leader, then your thoughts and the thoughts of others, or and the thoughts of people smarter than you, could be heard. And just maybe those thoughts could be turned into actions. And that's the main thing that I would love to share with you, because it's not just only about having a dream or an idea, it's turning those dreams and ideas into words, and those words turning into actions. How you do that? Well, it's um, it's quite many steps that you could face through your journey, but it's possible. And nowadays you're studying or you're trying to improve your first entrepreneurship project. I think it's the best moment because um, my grandpa used to say, uh, tomorrow you're going late. So if you start now, you can start to see what is improving, okay, and what it's not. Um, I don't know if there's, okay. Hi Juan, hi Leonardo, hi Alan. Um, this is something that I would like to share with you because when you have so many activities at the day, as I am right now, I think the day is not. Um, you need more than 24 hours to improve all of the projects that you want to going through. Hi, Fatima. Um, well, that's what something I would like to close my presentation with.
Thank you so much. Now you have the word, Fatima.
Hi, great. Can we? Yeah, exactly. Pin. Hi. So I think you can see now my presentation. So we would like to start up with firing a little bit the chat. So we want to start with this phrase question for you. What makes your heart beat? If you say blood, the answer is fine, but we want to know from you what's that thing that you are passionate about, that you can talk about it for hours, that when you talk about it, your eyes sparkle and you will give it everything you got in order to make it happen. So we can read it in the chat. Please start commenting if you can. And with that, we would like to know how much is the opportunity of a lifetime worth? That opportunity that can change it everything. Right now, in the context that we're living, the difference between those who stand out and those who don't lies in access to opportunities and the preparation. We see in the chat that we have my family, love, and those are beautiful things to keep us going. So right now, we're going to share with you a story similar to that.
So now you're about to meet Shura Mercado. So Shura asked herself this exact same question. But you know why? Because she was afraid. Afraid of being part of that 70% of people who are not hired due to lack of skills. But what does she really needed? She needed personalized education system adapted to the labor market, but also adapted to herself. So, what does she did? She got into this new platform. Everything that she wanted was there in this platform. And she was about to take this quiz, but all of us have took that type of quizzes, and we took the questions and we started thinking, oh, maybe this is going to be the same as the other ones, and we're going to get exact the same result, and this is going to lead to nothing. But this time was different. Shura adapted herself to know the interests, the competences, and even this platform created her creative profile and also her leadership profile. Basically, the platform was materializing everything she was dreaming about. What was her dream? Representing her country at the United Nations. And if you're wondering, how does the platform do this? Well, it's with the Campus Road. Basically, she obtained a personalized educational plan that it was made with AI and also machine learning. And the most important part, it was completely adapted to meeting all of her goals and her needs. But not only that, this platform also has online courses. And you can have here courses from international negotiation skills,
emissions, to climate change, to feminism. But the most important part, and personally my favorite, all of this is basing on your learning style. I know it's really hard for us sometimes to get to understand ourselves with the courses because maybe you're more like an empirical person, or you're more like a hearing person and you have trouble with that. But don't worry, this platform is completely meeting that problem.
Also, something that was great is that in this platform, she was connected with people that have similar interests and she can learn from, such as the environmental entrepreneurs. But what we want to highlight in her experience is that the platform gave her opportunities that were aligned to her profile. And even before she could wonder what happens if I'm not ready for an opportunity, the platform had already created a pack of recommendations to have a successful application. We want to share with you that today, while we are talking, Shura already works hand to hand with the General Assembly and has represented, well, we are from Mexico, our country in La COP. So, what was the platform she used? Hi, we are Concora. We are an edtech that incubates the most outstanding talent in Latin America, and we want to position them in high impact training and professional opportunity. We want to increase the opportunity to have a competitiveness in the labor market. And what you have seen is what we are working on.
And with all of this information, we're wondering, we all have a dream. We all have something to fight for. And you want to know what is Concorda's dream? Well, we want to anyone, no matter who they are, will be able to have a supported education and access to impactful opportunities. And maybe for you this sounds a little bit hot topic, but don't worry, this is why Concord exists. This is why we're trying to solve this problem, and we want you to let you know that you're not alone. And this is the very first part of it.
So you have met the dream. This dream was built 5 years ago. But who are the dreamers behind it? We want to introduce you the team. We are six Latin American women who are dreaming of a future that we are building today, where everybody can get the opportunity they want. And the difference between their dream being a reality and not is just an action plan. We love the change, we love impact, innovation, but mostly we love trying. Some of the achievements we have and some of our story is representing and being finalists in Harvard, being in the whole business program innovation bootcamp. We were in the summit of the Nobel Prizes, and also we represent as ambassadors here in Mexico for the European Union. But we don't want you to stay just with this. We're nothing without every single time we got a no. So please remember this. Every time you get a no, it's an step in your letter to getting that yes, to getting the opportunity of your life. Every knowledge you have is because of the experience you have built. So please remember, this is a Mexican way to say, I'm going to translate it in a nice way. But the next time you hear a no, just remember how the beep no. We can get it, see it as a letter built, because the difference between getting in a high spot in your high goal, you're not going to be able to reach it if you are not in the same level. So build every single no as the next step so that you can get there.
And we want to be the compass toward your goal, toward your goals. As we already said, we have a dream, and we know that you have also one. So we want you to meet them. And we're here to help you in all of this path because most of us have already felt alone. How do I start? How do I do this? And this is part of the change that Concorda is trying to do because we don't want you to feel fear. We want you to feel accomplished and encouraged to do the things. So let's start. But now, how can I start? That's always the main question. So we're inviting you to think about this. What is making you feel uncomfortable? What is making you feel helpless? We all have thought about something that we really need to know, but we don't know how to do it. And we're just like, oh my God, should I do this? This is my call. I really need to do it. Why? But if you had these questions, maybe you're passionate about, you need to care about it, because if you are not passionate, you don't care. And if you don't care, I don't think this is worth fighting for. But if you do, and you have the answer to all of these questions, I mean, you feel uncomfortable, you feel helpless, you're passionate, you care, and you think that this is worth fighting for, congratulations, you have the answers and you're ready to go to the next cap. Again, even though you already answered all of these questions, you're still afraid and you're kind of thinking about it. Don't worry, your besties from Concora have made this survival manual. Again, some questions. What are my roles in society? Even though we don't realize this, most of us has a role in society. Maybe I'm a student, maybe you're a teacher, maybe you're a professional, just a friend, or maybe you don't even know what you're doing, and that's fine. But what impact can each of them have? Maybe you don't even realize it again, but we are part of every learning that maybe a teacher, that maybe a friend has already did to us. And how can this impact? And what do we have to offer to the world? Then what are my tools and what are my resources? Maybe people already gave them to me. Maybe I have them. But if you have them, use them. And if you don't have them, look for them. And also think about your privilege, because as we already said, if you think that this is not your goal, maybe it's not. But maybe you cannot take the microphone and start speaking about it, but you can take the platform and you can take the path to give the microphone to other people that is really fighting for this cause. And again, the most difficult thing, as always, where do I start? And here are the SDGs. These are Sustainable Development Goals. For example, Concora is focusing in the number four, sorry, about education. But you can take the one that you want. What we want you to understand is that you can take any of those sustainable goals. Maybe you can take everything. Maybe you can take another thing that is not right here. But no matter what is your path, no matter what you're trying to demonstrate to society or to yourself, maybe, Concora is here to help you achieving your goals and creating this path for you, because you're not the very first person that is trying to fix the world, or maybe just to create some solutions to problems, maybe climate change. If you already have the aim to do the things and the opportunity to do it, there you go. Here is the answer. Do it. And Concordia is here for help you to do it.
So I really love this question, and if you are able to put it in the chat, have you ever wondered why do I have to do it if nobody else cares? Why me? So I really love this quote. It's from one of my favorite movies. If you have seen The Lorax, I love you now. But it says, unless someone like you really cares, nothing will ever get better. If not you, who? If not now, when? Even just the opportunity to be able to speak with you right now, it's a privilege. So thank you so much. Thank you for the people who have believed in us. And our do now that someone has believed in us is being that person to someone else. So every time you hear someone has a project, do not be the no, be the how. So I want you to take this quote. And next up, and our main goal here is to remember and remind every single one of you that everyone has a story to tell, people to inspire, and changes to aspire to. What we want to say to this is many of the people have the empiric knowledge and are changing the world right now. What will happen if, for just one moment, everybody was silent, listening to the stories that are making the change right now? Also, we every time we talk, every time we are making any action towards change, we are making a statement. Everything that's personal is political. What is going to be your poster? Who are you going to inspire? And what changes are you are going to aspire for? So thank you very much for being here. As we say in Concora, change and keep changing. And anytime you feel like you cannot do it, remember that we are going to be always the person who believes in you. So thank you so much. This is the first step, and we would love to hear some questions.
Thank you to our panelists for sharing such valuable insights and perspectives. It's been fascinating to hear about the diverse ways social entrepreneurship is making a difference in education and beyond. Now, we'll move into the next part of our discussion, where I'll ask a few questions to explore some of the key ideas we've heard today. Feel free to share your thoughts and expand on your earlier points. Let's begin with the first question. Saida, what role do you believe social entrepreneurship plays in addressing the most pressing challenges in education today?
Thank you, Fernanda. Well, I think the role of the social entrepreneurship in education is not just to fill gaps. You know, when you redefine about learning and making this inclusive and innovate deeply rooted as solving real world problems, this is a call to all of us to support champion and these efforts because the future of education depends not only on the student or the teacher, but the entrepreneurs and the enterprises out there depends on the courage to reimagine it.
Okay. Fatima, what role do you believe social entrepreneurship plays in addressing the most pressing challenges in education today?
Well, that's a really tricky question. I think education can change everything, but the knowledge is already out there. So first, I think we have to democratize the knowledge that we have, the people who are making history. So for me, the most important challenge is to understand that knowledge is already out there. So we do not have, we have to take everything we have out there and put it in a tangible way so people can access from it, such as this form. And the second one is to be able not just to have the education, but connect with opportunities. Have an education that makes us the best version of ourselves and take our talents and our passion. And if there is no space in the world for it, to be able to create it. So, yeah, I think tangible education, practical one, it's the key for a sustainable development and also for us Latins and well, young people who want to create a change to be able to be in the labor market with something we are passionate about, but making a tangible change while inspiring people.
Thank you so much. Grecia,
Well, one of the main points here I'll say is that social entrepreneurship is generating profits and it's creating also jobs. And I think that it's offering efficient solutions and it's trying to getting out of the traditional institutions. For example, one of the initiatives that I get to know, it's called Malaria Sub, something like that. It's kind of a video game, and just with that, you can understand the disease and take it. So basically, what social entrepreneurship is doing is decentralizing solutions. It's showing to the people and organizations and everyone that they are empowering themselves and then that they can be active problem solvers and they do not need to rely always on local governments to address every challenge, that they also have the capacity to achieve it and maybe that no one else is going to do it for them. So they need to act and that's perfectly fine. Encourage them and empower them.
thank you so much. So, in your experience, what are some of the most significant barriers to implementing social entrepreneurship initiatives in the education sector? How can these challenges be overcome? Saida?
Thank you. Well, in my experience, some of the most significant barriers to implement social entrepreneurship, especially in education, are tied to three key areas: the mindset, the resources, and the collaboration. To overcome these barriers, we must adopt a mindset of openness, prioritize the sustainable solutions, and try to work together because even though this new generation is improving in great ideas with teamwork, well, the social entrepreneurship in education, it's evolving with all the generations. So in education isn't just about solving problems, it's about build a culture together of innovation, equality, and this purpose that we have in common. And that starts with all of us, the educators, the entrepreneurs, the community leaders, and taking serious that lead that you have in your power.
Thank you. Fatima?
Well, for me, I think I'm going to be a little bit more personal, but I think what we're lacking first is being a young girl in the entrepreneur area. It's really difficult to look for someone who looks exactly like us. And plus being in the educational sector. So that's why we love stories and that's why we love amplifying stories out there. Because one day I wish somebody, like in a short time, I can look up and be like, she had the same dream that I have, and I want to be just like her. So I think that's the first milestone, to have representation, and second of all, to not be so centered and being able to say, I don't know what the solution is. Let's ask out there what they need. So that's, I think, the first challenge that we have in any type of project you have. It's to leave the ego behind and being able to understand that if you want to be part of the change, first you have to understand what the problem is. You are not going to be the first person who discovered the problem, and you're not going to be the last who leaves it. But the change that you do between the first and the last is going to be how you will impact people's lives. So I think that's it. And also seeing education also as a productive area. I think we have seen it just as a service, but I will not be the person I am today if a teacher hadn't believed in me. I wouldn't be studying what I'm studying if I wasn't able to go to a classroom full of possibilities. So it is an incubator, a catalyzer. Education is the first step in believing that you're capable of everything that you know. So I think that are the challenges we have ahead.
Thank you. Grecia, what's your take?
Oh my God, I'm going to start talking about human rights. So yeah, I think that one of the basic barriers that we have is the lack of access to opportunities, to information, and to resources. In many cases, mainly in the schools, there's communities that struggle to get even the basic needs like structure, materials, teachers. They are lacking of that resources, so it's very difficult for us to try to involve in this environment, challenging programs and something different, because in many countries this is so difficult for them to even have the basic needs. For example, here in my country, Mexico, the educational system faces a lot of structural challenges, and such like an outdated curricula. So I think that the very first thing is ensure schools to have the foundational resources and that they need to require and to operate, and then prioritize the training for teachers and for administration, and them to empower the students to earn some knowledge and to integrate social entrepreneur skills into their work, into their classes, even with limited resources. Because being being realist is a little bit hard for us to introduce such a great system in Mexico, for example, that we have a lot of trouble in education. So maybe the solution here is to introduce social entrepreneurship, but taking into account the research limited stuff and taking into account the teachers and the information that they already got.
Thank you. So now, how can educational institutions better prepare students to think and act like social entrepreneurs? Saida?
Well, lately, preparing the students to think and act like social entrepreneurs requires a shift in education culture. It's about moving from focus on individual achievement to collective impact. It's not just memorizing facts or solve problems, it's about competition with collaboration. As Fatima said, it's about facing with some of your partners and being able to identify the problem in your community or something that moves her and moves me to do something different. It's as I said, not focusing in the individual achievement, but focusing on the collective impact. If we equip our students with the mindset and the skills, and as I said before, the culture of innovation, equity, and purpose, we may experience something that they need. They're asking for this, so we won't be just becoming entrepreneurs for a project, but an entrepreneurs for our community, and they will become the leaders of today, not tomorrow. They're acting today. They're turning their dreams into actions today, so they will redefine what's possible.
Thank you, Fatima.
So I have got this question many times because many teacher of mine right now. First of all, thank you for still believing in us. I know the pandemic has left us with some kind of new adjustments. So first, I think we have to ask these new generations, what do you need? What is your concern? Because we cannot still rely on this famous quote. They just don't care because our generation, or well, I'm going to talk about mine. My world ended three times in the pandemic. First, the external part, second, internal, and then my future. So I think we have to ask themselves, what moves you? What do you need? How do you see the present? What can we change? And after that, not just giving the answer, working besides them, because there's nothing more powerful than someone who feels listened to and someone who is platform to follow what they are dreaming about. So also for the teachers, I think we have this, well, they have this really main goal that it is working on what social entrepreneurship means. It's just a title. It's something we can build in the public area, in the internal area, in the business area, and create leaderships that are social. That even though if I don't have my own project, I know wherever I am, I'm going to leave that place better than it was because I know myself. I know what I'm capable about. I know my context, and I'm using my platform for the better benefit. So for me, it's just listening and then acting. No making the action of listening. So it will be in that order.
Thank you, Grecia.
Well, I'll say that it's very important for institutions to start teaching students the real stuff, like the important things in life. Because we're focusing on a traditional educational system where you need to learn math and Spanish and stuff like that. The real world needs you to know about finances, accounting, entrepreneurship strategies, things that you're really going to use. So it's crucial to shift toward a more disruptive way of thinking. We need to evolve as education. It's evolving. We need to evolve with it, and we can do this through real world projects, mentorships, giving them opportunities, giving them the tools, because as we already said, the information is right there and they can take them, but maybe it's a little bit harder because it's not in my language and I don't have the system to do it. Maybe I don't even have a computer, electricity. So how can we help these students? I think that the main part is teaching them about confidence, resilience, to not be scared of the new things, and that this is part of the path of getting into becoming a successful social entrepreneurship. So it is all about the system, the education, and what do we have to offer, but we can take from them.
Thank you. So now, Fatima, what strategies or tools have you found most effective in engaging communities to support or participate in social entrepreneurship projects?
I think first is looking for guidance. You're like any project is not going to be able to work alone. So look for people. I love doing this when we mentor people. It's make a list of people who would you like to be compared. So I would like to be in the same circle as these activists, as this entrepreneurship. I would like to be seeing similar. If they think about them, I want them to think about me. So that's the first step. Look for people who you aspire to become and send them a message. I think like we have the social media core everywhere. And if you send a message, hey, I was inspired by your story. I want to know how to step in your shoes and walk a little beside you. They are going to say yes. They are going to share their story with you. And most important, they are going to be that first reliance to start this path of social entrepreneurship. Second is to be aware this is a long path. This is a really, really long path. We have been changing our idea, our structure many times. And yesterday I was doing the count of how many times they have said no to us, and it's over 100. So be aware that if an opportunity it's not for you, it's because it's not the time, but it is the change you want to do. Because if we, like Grace and I, will have given up on Concora, there will be many times that people we have impacted wouldn't share their story with us. So be aware of that. Third, look for opportunities, be part of circles, and surround yourself with the people you would like to be compared to. You are the average of the five people you surround yourself. Also, study, be part of communities that really engage in education and practical ones, and join groups that share opportunities. In Mexico, we have this saying that is chicle y pega. I don't know how to translate it. It's like throw it if you see if you strike. I'm going to translate it that way. I don't know how to translate it, but the thing is apply for everything you think you're able to do, and if you get a no, then you get a knowledge for the opportunity of your life, because there's nothing more sad that the opportunity of your life grows your way and you're not ready to take it. So take every opportunity you have, learn from them, and apply the knowledge you have for that one that is going to change it everything. And if you want later, this is promotion, but in Concora, we have a group where we share opportunities. So if you want, you can send us a DM and we share it every day and connect with other people. Your dreams are possible, but a goal without a plan is just a dream. So please be aware, it's a long way, but there's many people behind you and there is many people before you that could give you the right answers so you save some time in the way.
Okay. Thank you so much. Gracia?
I'll say listen to them, listen to the community. We need to understand what they need, their needs, their challenges, what they're facing, because we cannot work with something that we don't know. Hopefully, the great part of this is that we are all social entrepreneurs, so we already know what we're lacking, we already know what we need, but still we need to we need to hear people. This is not just like a one path that every single person is joining to. So there's a lot of things, and reciprocity is so important. It's also essential because this is not just about implementing a solution. It's about creating a two-way relationship. This is us, we're teaching you, but we're learning from you. And we have to feel valued and empowered while we're doing it. And the people of the community needs to feel valued and empowered as well. So providing them with the skills and resources in return is the way that we are both giving something and taking something from this, because ensuring this project and taking the benefits needs to be shared equitably. And this is part of the social entrepreneurship, like giving something and earning something in return. So that's basically what we're doing.
Okay, thank you. Saida, we listen you.
Thank you. Well, engaging with communities isn't just about asking for support or asking for something specifically, but it's about building these relations rooted in trust. As Fatima and Grecia said, in Concora, in Emprendete, we share a purpose, we share a dream, we have these communities that are going through the same way, and these relationships looks for the trust, respect, and share goals. When you see yourself as a stakeholder rather than a recipient or uh, just a leader out there, you become this champion of cause, ensuring this impact in the social entrepreneurship, extending far beyond than the original project that you may think about.
Thank you. So, Fatima, looking ahead, how do you see the relationship between education and social entrepreneurship evolving over the next 10 years?
Wow, a necessity. Like, I think here in 10 years, what we have been living is that there are solutions out there. You're not going to be the first person to have the same idea, but you can be the first one to connect many ideas and create a great one. So be aware of that. Education is key to connect people, but also is key to get to know us. If I have learned anything from my time as a student, is the university, high school, middle school is not going to teach you who you are. It's going to teach you everything you are not. And that's beautiful because that is going to give you the tools. We don't want to know who we are. We want to be able to create who we want to be. So that I think that's the difference, and that's how we have to see the change. You and being able to go to school, it's a privilege, and being able to be the first person to deliver it also. But now that you have that opportunity, now that some people have believed in you, they you have to be that person for somebody else. So the in 10 years, I think it is going to be really affected by the current issues that we're having, and we are going to see projects and in the social entrepreneurship that adapt to those contexts, that are adapting to the climate change, that are adapting to the gap, that are trying to solve the intergenerational structure problematic that we have in order to create not a future but a present where everybody gets to say why they think. So I think that's pretty much it. I think education is key to everything, but we have to restructure how do we learn, because we are seeing that we're not learning from our mistakes. We are not learning by what we are concerned about today. We are learning from people who are making the change. So let's leave the ego behind, say we made a mistake, and restructure. What do you need? What it's in Condesign, we have these three questions. What is wrong? What do we want to change? And how are we going to change that? So I will invite everybody that is in the education to ask themselves that question. And also, I'm going to make this parenthesis. Thank you, teachers who are still believing in us. Thank you, teachers who are currently creating social entrepreneurs, because there's nothing more rewarding than creating a project. I have some teachers behind me, and looking back and being able to say, in one class, in one classroom, you saw me. Nobody has ever saw me. So I am here because of you. You teach me and I did. So thank you so much. So that's, I think, my main answer.
Okay, thank you. So now we will take in one or two questions from the audience in the interest of time. So if you have any question, you can type it in the comments. This comment says, I don't know how to say it in English, so I'll post it in Spanish. ¿No las juvenean? Fátima, Grecia, Saida.
Ah, okay, I get it. I get it. It's a slang. I had to try. Okay. Eh, Sometimes, yeah, I think like I always got like this question like why do we have to listen to you or something like that? Or why do we have to focus on young people? Everybody in the sector they are important because they contribute. Like adults, young people, children. So we have to be aware of that. But I think, and what I always tell them is, if the people who are in power will have started in our age, how different the things will be. If the people who are making the decisions today and are in the table will have started like 10 years before that, or somebody approached them and be, I believe in what you have to say, go and tell the world, how different everything will be. So sometimes, yeah, but mostly I think it doesn't matter where you come from or your age. What does matter is the responsibility you have to your actions and you are able to deliver. You have to be at the same time, I forgot the words in Spanish, but you have to be able to have a backup of your beliefs and your actions. So I think that's it. Actions speak greater than words. And I recently heard we used to have this quote in Concora when we first started because they say that we are the last generation. And we used to say like, oh, if we are the last generation, imagine we're unbreakable. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
Thank you. So, Saida, how did it feel to start with your ideas and see how little by little they were fulfilled and became a reality?
Well, thank you, Alan, for your question. It was thrill for me because I was just a student by the time I was 20 years old, and I was studying mechatronics. So seeing Emprendete in TV becoming real, when we first started, yes, I had two teachers, Nelson and Luis, who believed in me and who put those ideas in napkins and gave it to me, literally. So I came up with those napkins in a presentation, and then seeing how this turned into many people ideas because it was about hearing these entrepreneurs that wanted to do all around the state their entrepreneurships real. And nowadays I'm the head of all of these that just started 5 years ago. Have been a dream that I never had, but I'm thrilling to becoming this bigger than it started.
Thank you so much. So, Grecia, Ramiro asks, how can I balance my dreams with the things I can actually do?
Oh, that's a great question because I have thought about this a lot, but I think that it's going to be a little difficult at first because sometimes we may see our dreams as something impossible, but I think that the key in this situation is to think of the things you can do to achieve it. Not like start focusing of the result of it, but what I'm going to do today, maybe tomorrow, maybe just order my ideas, maybe just trying to get more information, courses, educate yourself. So it's going to be hard at first because I mean I'm a person that doesn't have patience, but it's everything is going to be a result of your work. And don't worry, at the end it's going to result because if you believe in yourself and if you believe in what you're doing and you're doing the right things and you're taking what you got and you're using it, everything is going to be okay. And even with this, you're going to, every single step, you're going to be learning something up. So see it like that, like you're starting reading the book, but eventually you got to the end. So be patient, have patience.
Well, a huge thank you once again to our incredible panelists, Saida Aldape, Grecia Herrera, and Fatima Gaitan, for their powerful insights. We hope today's talk has inspired you and sparked new ideas about social entrepreneurship. Be sure to check the schedule and don't forget to share your experiences using the hashtags IEW 2024 and hashtag Une tu Potencial. Your engagement helps us foster a vibrant and connected community. Thank you once again for being with us today. We look forward to seeing you at your upcoming session. Have a wonderful day.